So, namaste. It's such a joy to have all of you here. You are my fellow teachers. I have been there in the classroom. I have been there struggling to go to class on time. I used to be in Delhi and I had purposely chosen a school in Gurgaon. So, I used to live in South Delhi and I chose a school in Gurgaon to work, which is like 1.5 hours away, because I wanted to feel the pain of a teacher. सुबह 5 बजे उठना, metro पकड़ना. यहाँ पे I don't know whether you catch the metro, but I used to catch an auto and then go to the metro and then go to the last station and then again catch an auto and then run to my classroom to sign on the register and be in the classroom. That's the life, no? So here what I'm going to share more, of course, through the topic is my journey also vis-a-vis how integral education helped me in that time period when I was trying out. So I earlier worked in an integral education school, a free progress school for 10 years. And then I wanted to feel the pain of a teacher, so I tried out going to a normal school, which was trying out integral education practices, of course. But then I understood with my grasp and understanding of integral education, how do I apply it in my life so that when I enter the classroom, I have that quietness which I expect the children to have. चुप बैठो बोलने से नहीं होता है. How do I walk in with that quietude? वो मेरा learning रहा है. And I want each one of us to feel, and I'm very happy that all of you are here. So this topic, why do we need integral education? We need to feel, as Manoj Bhaiya said, we need to feel the pinch कि क्यों ज़रूरत है इसकी हमारे जीवन में. और ये जो अभी शिव भैया ने कहा कि ये पावर को जागृत करना है हमारे भीतर. How do we do it? So for that we'll have to go a little more into the history of integral education. तो मैं ये कहानी है और हम इस कहानी को आगे बढ़ाएंगे. So I'll start from where Shiv Bhaiya stopped. British period था, and I think you can next slide. So in this PPT, I have done this PPT because I'm actually an artist and for me visuals are very important. And हम पहले birth and vision of integral education देखेंगे and then हम देखेंगे कि क्यों integral education, why do we need integral education in our lives as homemakers, in our lives as teachers. तो उसके लिए it's very important to relook कि अभी क्या हो रहा है. Then only we have a need for something different, no? So we need to know what, is there something wrong? So we'll be looking at that and then we'll be looking at the choice. Should we make a choice? So we'll go ahead. And then go ahead. So this is a beautiful quote by Sri Aurobindo, where he had come from England. He was Cambridge educated, and there is a difference in the education which the Britishers did in their own country वो अपनी कंट्री में कुछ अलग ही करते थे. Cambridge was one of the most prestigious institutions in the whole world. And Sri Aurobindo really praises it. He says it makes the students a man. But they did not do the same in India. They introduced an education system in India that dwarfed हमारी जो बुद्धि है उसको मंद कर दिया. सोचने की हमें शक्ति ही ना रहे, ताकि we all can work for them as clerks and we never grow and progress. And as he mentioned, they introduced an education system that cut us off from our ancient strength. जो हमारी एक शक्ति थी हमारे देश में, उससे. So Sri Aurobindo जब बड़ौदा में आए, he was working for the Maharaja of Baroda, Maharaja Gaikwad, and he was the first vice principal of what we know as MS University, Baroda. So he was also an educator. And he also became the principal of National College of Bengal, and it is at that time he declared this in one of his speeches. What he says is, the schools and colleges in which we are taught give us an education which does not develop our intellectual capacity. And the same British education, mind you, is going on right now also. Education in English schools and colleges has cut us off from our ancient strength. What is this ancient strength? It is that power. It is to invoke that power so that we can live our lives most beautifully. That power was the foundation of all life. It was not only the foundation, it was there in every aspect of life in our country. And it is that power that they removed. After 75 years, more than 75 years of independence, we're still following the same British education system, where we are not introducing that power in the classrooms at all, because we are unaware of it. हम भी भूल गए हैं as teachers. It sounds very nice when we hear these beautiful stories, we feel very uplifted. But जब हम रोज़मर्रा की ज़िंदगी में, रियल लाइफ में जाते हैं, क्लासरूम्स में, हम सब भूल जाते हैं. And then Sri Aurobindo says, it is an education which does not fit our ancient strength. हमारे values को वो बिल्कुल fit नहीं करता है. The education which we receive is narrow, meager, and incomplete. We want to establish an education of our own in India. That was the birth of national education. That thought, and then he laid out the ideals of national education. He said, that this education, what is the main ideal of this education? How does one look at this national education? He said, for the individual, will make its one central object the growth of the soul and its powers and possibilities. For the individual. So he's looking at three things here. Because in our society, we are not only an individual, we are also a collective, isn't it? So he's saying for the individual, the first dharma is in national education. For now, here it's both the entities in an individual, the teacher and the child. For them to invoke that hidden power, that hidden genius, that hidden Shakti, that hidden inspiration that lies within each one of us, to invoke that and see that it comes right in the front, it manifests and it starts guiding our life. We can call it the inner guide, we can call it the अंदर का दोस्त. हम कुछ भी उसे बुलाएं, क्योंकि वो हमारे जीवन को कैसे गाइड करे, वो हमारे फिजिकल को, वो हमारे इमोशंस को, वो हमारे थॉट्स को कैसे सबसे उच्च कोटि का, सबसे ब्यूटीफुल, सबसे हारमोनियस बनाए. दैट इज़ what is the first step of national education. And then he says, for the nation, so it must be an education that for the nation will keep first in view the preservation, strengthening, and enrichment of the nation's soul and its dharma. Now, what is this nation's soul? It's a very beautiful word, isn't it? हमारे भारत, जैसे हमारा एक सोल होता है, हमारे अंदर कुछ होता है, वैसे भारत में भी कुछ एक सोल है, उसका भी एक कोई सोल है. How does the child get in connect with that? So I'm going to paraphrase Sri Aurobindo only in this. एक स्पीच में उन्होंने कहा कि जब ज्योग्राफी पढ़ाया जाता है क्लास में, तब कैसे ज्योग्राफी पढ़ाते हैं. एक्चुअली करंटली भी अभी भी ऐसा होता है. यू गेट अ मैप ऑफ इंडिया एंड यू से दीज आर द स्टेट्स एंड दीज आर द रिवर्स. ही सेड नहीं. व्हेन एन इंटीग्रल एजुकेटर, एट दैट टाइम नेशनल एजुकेटर, comes into the classroom and teaches geography, वो कैसे geography सिखाएगी या सिखाएगा. वो कहेगा कि नहीं, ये इंडिया, ये जो मैप आप देख रहे हो, ये हमारी माँ है. इंडिया इज़ आवर मदरलैंड. पहले कनेक्ट. और ये जो नदियाँ बहते देख रहे हो ना, ये गंगा, जमुना, Narmada, all of these, Krishna, Kaveri, Godavari. Godavari is Nashik, right? ये सिर्फ नदियाँ नहीं हैं, इनके पीछे कहानियाँ हैं. There are stories behind these rivers. There is an anecdote which comes to my mind. बता दूँ? So, अकबर और बीरबल के चुटकुले तो सबने सुने हैं. So, it's one of those. तो एक दिन अकबर कहता है, बीरबल बताओ तो, तुम्हारे हिंदुओं में सबसे पवित्र नदी कौन सी है. अकबर को सब पता है, फिर भी वो परेशान करता है बीरबल को थोड़ा. तो बीरबल शांत हो जाता है एक सेकंड के लिए. एंड देन ही सेज, बीरबल कहता है, जापना, यमुना. अकबर कहता है, गड़बड़, ये तो तुम मुझे बुद्धू बना रहे हो. मुझे क्या पता नहीं है कि गंगा सबसे पवित्र नदी है. सब कोई तो गंगा स्नान करने जाते हैं, यमुना स्नान करने कौन जाता है. सो बीरबल सेज, जापना, गुस्ताखी माफ. हमारे भारत में हम गंगा को नदी नहीं मानते, उसे साक्षात भगवान का चरणामृत मानते हैं. वो एक देवी है हमारे लिए. So this is what Sri Aurobindo meant. He said कि हिस्ट्री पढ़ा रहे हो, महाराष्ट्र की हिस्ट्री पढ़ा रहे हो, you're teaching the history of Maharashtra. How do you start? What difference does it make? When did the Battle of Plassey take place? Which year? उससे क्या फ़र्क पड़ता है? After 20 years, do you remember? Do you remember when the Quit India movement took place, or any other battles? Who came first, Akbar or Jahangir or Aurangzeb? What does it matter? He said, अगर आप महाराष्ट्र में बच्चों को महाराष्ट्र के हिस्ट्री के बारे में, तो शिवाजी के बारे में आप बताएंगे, उनकी बहादुरी के बारे में, उनकी नोबिलिटी के बारे में. You tell them stories of Bajirao. If you're telling the history in Punjab, you will not start again with the history of Maharashtra, but you'll start with the history of Ranjit Singh of Punjab, of Guru Gobind Singh, of the Gurus. This is how history has to be taught, and that is the connect. When you will try to make the connect with the national soul, the soul of the nation, the child gets connected in that way. So you start that way. And it is not that you do not teach them history of the world, but you teach them the history of the world in context to your country. Not history of the world without any context to your country. बच्चों को कुछ समझ नहीं आता है. It is just rote education to them. They really don't get it. It doesn't make a difference to them. They just want to pass examinations. He says if you are teaching languages like Sanskrit or the indigenous languages, let it be flowing as if it is flowing in a very natural way, not just because the scriptures said so. In that, we do not have to copy the past. It has to be taught in a more futuristic way, but the connect has to be made to that culture. The connect has to be made with the child. Otherwise, it just bounces above children. Everything just bounces, you know. And that is what Sri Aurobindo meant by the nation soul. How does one connect? It is not very difficult, isn't it? And then he says the third point. So the first point was the individual has to work on himself by finding his soul and manifesting it in his outer life, so that his outer personality, ये जो surface personality है, ये बहुत limited हो गई है, distorted हो गई है, उसको कैसे ठीक ठाक करें, कैसे सुंदर करें उसे. And then the second point is, how does one get connected to the soul of the nation? And then the third, he says, when the individual has risen thus in his mind, in his ascending mind, and raised both into powers of the life and the ascending mind and the soul of humanity. And then, it is only then that child can connect to the soul of humanity. अगर हम अभी से कहें, US के जो हैं और हम हैं सब भाई भाई, we are all one. You know, we all of this, we say Vasudhaiva Kutumbam. ये सब सिर्फ कहने की बातें हैं. ये हम नहीं कर पाएंगे बच्चे के साथ जब तक उसने फर्स्ट स्टेप, सेकंड स्टेप नहीं समझा, और नहीं समझा उसे ग्रहण किया. एंड इवन बच्चा ही नहीं, द टीचर ऑल्सो, इट इज बोथ फॉर बोथ ऑफ देम, दिस नेशनल एजुकेशन. एंड देन वी चेंज द स्लाइड. वी आर गोइंग टू गो इनटू. So it was in 1910 that Sri Aurobindo Pondicherry आ गए. He already foresaw कि India का independence ज़रूर होगा, and he was preparing for a different future for the world. He had to work for that, for the whole of the humanity. So he wrote his articles, जो आपने ये book में अभी you opened that page in 1910. And then he came to Pondicherry, and then someone joined him, his spiritual collaborator, whom you see here, the mother. मैं थोड़ी उनकी कहानी भी बताऊंगी आपको, क्योंकि बहुत ज़रूरी है जानना कि कौन थी ये मदर और कैसे वो मदर बनी. So she was born in Paris in 1878. And she was born into a family which really was atheist, and वो ज़्यादा spirituality में भी नहीं मानते थे. पर वो उनकी जो माँ थी, her mother, mother's name was in her childhood Mira Alfasa. Her mother was a perfectionist. And mother said later on, when she was telling about her own story to the children in the ashram school, she said, it's very strange that my initials were Mira Alfasa, M.A. And you know, Ma, we all call her Ma now. And her mother used to embroider that M.A. Have you done that to your children? You know, you embroider the name on their clothes, on the pillows, and on the bed sheets of what the child uses. And her mother always used to embroider M.A. So that was mother. From a very young age, she was aware of that higher consciousness and that deeper consciousness. She was a very sensitive child. Not only that, she was an artist. She's worked with one of the greatest impressionist artists in Paris in that time. She was a budding sportswoman. In the ashram, she played tennis till the age of 85. And she was a musician, very creative musician. And she was also a very keen intellectual. She wanted to read everything. She started, by the way, learning the alphabet from her brother when she was 8 years old, and it seems in 6 months she knew to read everything. And then she wanted to know, what is there? What is that? Why are we born here? What do we do after coming to this earth? What is the goal? And so she read all the philosophies of the world. And she herself says that I was not satisfied with anything. It was only at the age of 21 when she came across the Bhagavad Gita, and also simultaneously the book of Raja Yoga written by Swami Vivekananda. She herself says कि पहली बार मुझे लगा जीवन में जैसे मैंने कुछ पढ़ा. She said it was as if those words were full of light, lucent, she says. And जैसे वो jump कर रहे हों, they were like as if jumping and saying कि मुझे ग्रहण करो. And once she had read that, हम भगवद गीता पढ़ते हैं पर पता नहीं हमारे पर असर नहीं होता है. पर मदर ने उसके बाद ठान ली. उन्हें पता चल गया था through the Bhagavad Gita, as he said in the story, she came to know that there is an antaryami. There is this inner divine. And उन्होंने कहा कि जब मेरे अंदर ही है divine, so then she started her journey, she said, like a cyclone. Headlong she went into the search of that inner divine. हम तो छोड़ देते हैं ना, हमें पता भी चलता है तो we just, but no, she took it very, very seriously. That was the third point I think Manoj Bhaiya said, that what do we do about it? जब वो pinch करता है तो क्या हम कोई action लेते हैं? And then in 1920, she finally arrived in Pondicherry, and she joined Sri Aurobindo in his work. In 1926, the ashram, Sri Aurobindo Ashram in Pondicherry, was founded, and that is when everybody started actually calling her Ma. Because Sri Aurobindo said she is the incarnation of the Divine Mother. She is that divine force. And both Sri and Sri Aurobindo founded the ashram school which you see here. That is the Sri Aurobindo International Center of Education. It was founded in 1943. You're seeing the school building as it looks now. And here you're seeing Mother sit in front of the map of undivided India. This is India with all our neighboring countries that were taken away from us are there in this map. And both of them believed that India will become one again. That was their dream. Yes, next. And it was Mother and Sri Aurobindo who founded, she took this work of the incomplete work of national education that Sri Aurobindo had left behind. And when they started the school, we'll not look at this slide. I'm again going to go back to that school. It was, why the school? Because Sri Aurobindo Ashram was a place of sadhana. So there were a lot of families, which war was going on at that time in 1943? कौन सी दुनिया की जंग चल रही थी? The Second World War. The Second World War was going on. And बहुत families, there were a lot of devotee families that started coming to Pondicherry, and a lot of children were there. So, of course, a school was needed, but it was not only that. Why? That's why the school was started. There was a lot of pressing need. Because Mother said that when these wars happen, no, even right now there is a very pressing situation of war and conflict, no, in the world. So at that time, Mother said, all these wars and all these kind of conflicting conditions actually reflect the state of consciousness of the individuals that live. And war khatam ho jata hai and we think कि peace आ जाता है, but नहीं, that is a very superficial kind of, an agreement kind of a thing, like a compromise. She says nothing can change if that state of consciousness doesn't change. हम ऊपर ऊपर से सब ठीक ठीक करने का कोशिश करते हैं, हम सेम एजुकेशन सिस्टम के साथ भी करते हैं, ऊपर ऊपर से सब ठीक करते हैं, पर अंदर से हम भीतर से कोई नहीं ठीक करने की कोशिश करता है. So you have to start again with the individual. And she says that there are only two paths of how does one change this consciousness. Yes, there have been many people of higher consciousness, there have been many saints who have tried it out. But because the individuals whom they were whom they were preaching or whom they were trying to change or transform, they did not take it up fully. Everything is back to square one even in 2026. In spite of having so many wars, we are back to wars. And it is that same greed, it is that same selfishness, same corruption, everything is the same. Because the state of consciousness at the individual level and the collective level has not changed at all. And that is what she said. So that is the path. That both at the individual level and at the collective level, there has to be a change. The individual has to take help of that inner guide and has to make a shift in that consciousness, a very active shift. And then at the collective level also, a total reorganization has to be done. so that one can get connected to the soul of humanity. And that is what she says, this is the only way that a change can happen, a shift can happen in the consciousness. And she said, education is one of the easiest and the fastest ways to do that. And that is why the school was started. It was an experiment in this change of consciousness. It is still running. वहाँ पे कुछ एग्जाम्स नहीं होते हैं. It is still college level. And children come out of it. And they keep working on themselves. Yes, they go to other institutions. They may decide to do several things. But they have never given an exam. And yet, their minds are very developed. Their emotions are very developed. Their bodies are very developed. They're able to navigate their lives in the most beautiful manner. They're able to even earn their bread and butter. खाना पीना सब खा लेते हैं. They're able to live good, comfortable lives. If that is what worries everyone, ना पैसे कहाँ से आएंगे? No, this one, yeah. So that is when we come to integral education. We come to the definition of what is this integral education that is being implemented there in the ashram school, and which year the Bijon Desai Foundation is trying to make efforts to empower the teachers, as Manoj Bhaiya says, not train the teachers, but empower the teachers with this beautiful new knowledge. Kya hai ye? So we look at that with this quote of the mother. So she says, education to be complete must have 5 principal aspects corresponding to the 5 principal activities of the human being. So we think that the human being, I, when we say I, we just one, but we are not one. We have these 5 parts to ourselves. And what do we do in the school? So what are the 5 parts? Okay, if we have to say, kya hai wo 5 parts? The physical, the vital, the mental, the mind. Everyone has a mind also. Everybody has emotions. The physical, everybody has a body. These 3 are very apparent. चौथा, जो दिखता नहीं है, पर है, अभी वो कहानी में बताया, है, सबके पास है. पक्का है, कहीं छुपा बैठा है. We are not able to actually feel it in our everyday life, but hai, isn't it? And that 5, the 5th, the spiritual, the supreme truth. What we all have, that power is a what do I call? It is like a little stars of that supreme truth. So हम स्कूल में कौन सा एजुकेशन देते हैं? We little bit touch the body, the physical. We little bit touch. Even mother says mind, we are just touching a fraction of the mind. Just the rote, the memory power, and a little bit of comprehension. That's what. Those are the only faculties of the mind that we are actually, or maybe a little bit of analogy with maths and logic, building, reasoning, a little bit. But that is not only the power of the mind. What about intuition? Why isn't every child like Ramanujan, inspired? Why isn't every child with the heart and the beauty of the musicians like M.S. Subbulakshmi? Where is the emotion building? Where are the values? The parents are so confused, the children are so confused, and the teachers are so confused. Everybody is in conflict. So, integral education corresponds to these 5 principal activities. And usually, these phases of education follow chronologically because it follows the growth of the child. What does the child need first? The physical, isn't it? The sensory development. And then what does the child need? Emotions. It needs stories and it needs music. And what do we do in kindergarten? क्या करते हैं? We teach them A, B, C, D. The child is not ready, Baba. There are some schools, elite schools in Mumbai, which actually do mathematical tables at the age of 4, 3 or 4. We are actually making the children sick. They become dyslexic. They lose their language capacities when we are imposing something that they're not even ready, because the growth, the cycle of growth doesn't demand that. It's so natural. So usually these phases of education follow chronologically the growth of the individual, but the mother says, however, that does not mean that one of them should replace another. It's not that the psychic development has to be throughout. One has to make a connect with the child in the kindergarten. If that is not there, if you're only judging the child with the mind and not making a soul connect with the child's development will not take place. And the report cards will always say that the child is not developing, because the teacher has not even tried to listen to the child, to understand the child. And then she says, but that all must continue, completing one another until the end of his life. कॉलेज स्कूल में नहीं खत्म हो जाता है इंटीग्रल एजुकेशन, कॉलेज में नहीं. दिस एजुकेशन इज फॉर लाइफ. It is a never-ending education. And if once the child has been taught to get in touch with his soul, with this inner guide, with this inner divine, with this power, with this Shakti, and navigate his life, उसे बार बार मम्मी को पूछना नहीं पड़ेगा, या करियर काउंसलर के पास नहीं जाना पड़ेगा कि मैं कौन सा प्रोफेशन लूँ, मैं कौन सी कॉलेज में जाऊँ. He will be able to actually ask that inner power and confidently navigate his life. Do we not want this to happen with children? And not the confusion and conflict that they are in? So we can rightfully say that integral education is a soul-centered education. Here, we are making a shift from syllabus-centered, जो आज है, to child-centered, which a lot of educational philosophies believe in, right? Like Montessori and Waldorf. But Sri Aurobindo is making a greater shift. He says soul-centered, Mother and Sri Aurobindo say. So from syllabus-centered, we make a shift to soul-centered education. That is the main crux, the main foundation of integral education. So it is a soul-centered education. It is a five-fold education. It is not only for the mind or a minuscule part of the mind. It follows the natural growth and the development of humans. It is a never-ending education. And it is an education of the future. An education of the future with its foundation in the past. That is very, very important. You cannot forget that. Yes. So now the question comes कि हम कैसे करें? How do we implement this ideal? I'm going to ask you a question. Don't read here. You want your children to practice values of truth and sincerity, to be obedient, to be quiet, to be peaceful, to be harmonious, to be loving. How do you transfer those qualities to them? कैसे बनाओगे उन्हें ये सब? You want them to be noble. You have such, all of your schools, I think, have wonderful vision missions, isn't it? You want to be the citizens of the world, believing in equanimity, and all of these lovely words are there. How do we do that? Does that happen? How do we do that? कैसे करेंगे ये? So the mother says, for all educators, this integral education conference is not for children, it's for the teachers, isn't it? It's for the parents and the teachers, and it's for the adults. The adults who have lost touch with that power, and she's addressing them. She's not addressing the children at any level. So mother says, the first thing to do in order to educate a child is to educate oneself. And what is this educate? Is it having more and more PhDs, degrees and diplomas? उसी से हो जाता है. When the children come out of the ashram school at the age of 21, they don't have any degree. They don't have any diploma. And yet, they are navigating their lives in the most beautiful manner. And many of them go for further degrees and diplomas if they want to. She says that education is what mother is talking about, is to become conscious and master of oneself so that one never sets a bad example to one's child. गुस्सा आता है पर हम उसे कंट्रोल ही नहीं कर पाते हैं. Isn't it? And then you want the child not to be angry. How is it possible? You have just had a fight in your house with your husband or your sasuma. You've not been able to maintain harmony, and you want harmony in the class. Is it possible? The child catches the nerves of the teacher, they are able to read you. You may not be able to read them because you're not in contact with your soul, but the child is quite near. Many of the children are very near their soul, they're very near this inner power. And then the mother says, for it is above all through example, somebody said by example, that education becomes effective. Isn't it true? Go to the next slide. So, here, with our understanding of integral education, I found this most beautiful quote, the vision of integral education. What is the vision of integral education? To learn for the sake of knowledge. It's like poetry, I think we all felt this. That we don't want to learn. Who wants to go for exams? Do you like exams? आपने कभी देखा है exams के बाद? I think we all have gone through it, ना? Because we all were in that system. कुछ याद भी रहता है? क्या हुआ था? You don't even want to look at those textbooks for God knows how many months. And if it is the final exam, you just pack it and then वो कबाड़ी में चला जाता है, isn't it? To learn for the sake of knowledge, the true knowledge. This is not just the informational knowledge. Informational knowledge is not bad. anything that adds to your growth is actually true knowledge. To learn for the sake of knowledge, to study in order to know the secrets of nature and life. I went to a school in Delhi, everything is air conditioned. So I went with a story of butterflies and, insects, other insects. It was like 6-year-olds. They had beautiful flowers in the garden, lovely sprawling gardens, one of the best schools in Delhi. I will not tell the name. And the children had not seen butterflies. Ever. One child said, मैंने कभी देखा ही नहीं है. Because घर में AC के कमरे से दूसरे AC के कमरे में फिर तीसरे AC के कमरे में. That's how the shifting happens. The child has never actually played in the grass, felt the grass. So to study in order to know the secrets of nature and life, to educate oneself in order to grow in consciousness, to make that shift in consciousness so that you can contribute to the real peace in your country, the real growth in your country and the world, to discipline oneself in order to become master of oneself, not to be the servant of anger or of all of these things that pull you down, but to be a master in one's being, isn't it? Acha lagega na? To overcome one's weakness, incapacities and ignorance. To prepare oneself to advance in life towards a goal that is nobler and vaster, more generous and more true. You try to have a subject like that and you see how much the children actually relate to it. If you ask them, कि आपको अपने अंदर क्या इम्प्रूव करना है, एक बच्चे के लिए पता है क्या होता है कि मेरी हैंड राइटिंग अच्छी नहीं है, मुझे एट द एंड ऑफ द ईयर अपनी हैंड राइटिंग इम्प्रूव, उसका गोल वो होता है. हमारे बहुत बड़े बड़े गोल्स होते हैं कि वो बच्चा बहुत ज़्यादा इंटेलिजेंट हो जाए और उसके मार्क्स इतने आए और ये और वो. बट फॉर अ चाइल्ड to know what are his incapacities, his weaknesses, and to grow from that towards the strength is very needed, but nobody gives him that opportunity. So we must have, as he had also mentioned, more and more subjects for that, to grow, to have the true growth. So here when mother is saying that the first thing to do in order to educate a child is to educate oneself and to start working on oneself, and you say कि मैं तो perfect नहीं होंगी, then how can I ever be an integral educator? नहीं. Does that question come to you? I may not be perfect. No. But just have an aspiration. एक अभीप्सा तो हो आप में आगे बढ़ने की. That is enough for starting the process of becoming an integral educator. Just to have a beautiful aspiration. Doesn't matter if you're not able to control your anger. कोई बात नहीं, कल फिर से try करूँगी. फिर तीसरे दिन. If I have an incapacity in my body is not able to, is not able to stay healthy. मुझे बार बार सर्दी खांसी हो जाती है. I want to work towards it because it is only on a strong body that you will be able to even impart anything to the child. So अगर वो टीचर ही छुट्टी लेती है, you know there are some teachers 20-20 दिन छुट्टी ले लेते हैं because they're not well. They're incapacitated with their bodies. So if that is what you have to work on, start working on that. So wherever you find your weaknesses, your limitations, start working on it. Have an aspiration. That is the first step. And then next, So now that we've covered this whole gamut, this whole story of how national education became integral education, where Mother and Sri Aurobindo coined the term integral education, and we saw the what really truly is integral education. We saw the vision of integral education. We need to have a relook at our times. हमें जड़ से इसको निकालना है, जो ये हमारे अंदर कुछ गड़बड़ हो रहा है ना, उसे जड़ से निकालना है, ताकि हम इंटीग्रल एजुकेशन को पूरी तरह बैठा सकें. अगर आप ज़मीन में कुछ गड़बड़ है और आप नया पौधा लगा रहे हो, वो लगेगा? You have to first change the soil, isn't it? You have to make the soil एकदम तैयार. तो उसके लिए हमें जानना है कि क्या हमें कैसे उस सॉइल को तैयार करना है. नेक्स्ट. अभी जो नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी NEP डॉक्यूमेंट्स हैं वो बहुत बढ़िया बने हैं. दे आर इन सिंक विथ इंटीग्रल एजुकेशन, एंड दैट माय कलीग अजीत सबनीस जी विल टेल यू अबाउट इट. And we have to catch up with that. But what is the current scenario? That also we need to know what actually happens in our lives, in our classrooms. Then only we will be able to even adopt the NEP, what is written in that NEP, or what is integral education. So there is this mindset. It's called the industrial mindset. It started with the Industrial Revolution. In the 18th century, you all know, na, the Industrial Revolution happened. So there was a beautiful period of Renaissance when there was art and beauty and culture that was flourishing in the world. But then suddenly there came a period of change. And that was the age of industrialization. It is good, there is nothing wrong in it, but it created some mindsets which is also has become a part of our mentality, our mindset. And we need to know what is that mindset. So what does Sri Aurobindo say? This mindset works on the approach that the mind of man is the same everywhere, and can everywhere be passed through the same machine and uniformly constructed to order. बच्चा, you do not see कि उसमें कुछ uniqueness है या कुछ, सब same है, raw material. उसको डाला kindergarten में, and then उसको cut किया, refine किया. अगर if it is not set to the particular standard, reject किया, and then pack करके complete किया, and then roll out किया from the factory of the school where the teachers are the factory managers, and they also don't know what they are doing. They have been told to do something and they are just following blindly everything, the whole system. And at the age of 21, the child comes out of college totally clueless. मैं क्या करूं? And then whatever the daddy says or the career counselor says, he doesn't know, because there is no connect with the soul. There is no guidance. The inner guidance is absolutely zero. What can he do? The inner guidance of the parents or the teachers is also not there. So they are also not able to really help. They do their just very best. That's it. And then also to know that what the teachers have also to ask the question which they never ask. Why am I teaching? What am I teaching? मैं क्यों पढ़ा रही हूँ? मैं क्या पढ़ा रही हूँ? Is that true learning? Is it really helping the child to grow? I'm going to ask you a question. All of you all of us actually have had math every day, no, in our lives. I'm not talking about the people who've become math teachers or mathematicians. How much has that math helped you? Trigonometry, cos theta, sin theta, how much is it helping you in your regular life? What is the math that has really helped you? I'm not talking about mathematics or that. Yeah. For the development of brain, there are so many other beautiful activities that can be done, isn't it? Not necessary that you have to have 1 hour of math every day. And start at the very kindergarten level where you're doing mathematical tables. It's a sin that is being committed. I'm not only talking about math. How many of the things, what we really did, no, rote learning of how many battles were won and which rulers came, what is it helping us in our life? Did you not waste so many hours studying history? Or that geography which you don't even use? Now Google can tell you everything. We are damaging our children with this mindset. This is very, very dangerous. We are making our children sick, and we are also becoming placid in our lives. हम पूछते ही नहीं हैं कोई क्वेश्चन कि मैं क्यों पढ़ा रही हूँ ये लेसन, क्योंकि टेक्स्ट बुक में है, सिलेबस में है, इसीलिए. So someone there at the center decides something and you just roll out things. Just like I said, the factory manager, the boss, the CEO decides and you just roll out things. So this is the mindset. We have to get out of this clutches. Do you feel the pinch? आपको लगता है कि आप इस mindset में हो? हम सब हैं. And then this mindset leads to another बीमारी. ये कोविड से भी ज़्यादा खतरनाक बीमारी है, the mother says. कोविड खतरनाक थी ना, ये उससे भी ज़्यादा खतरनाक है. The disease of utilitarianism, उपयोगिता. हाँ, जो यूजफुल होता है वो जीवन में सच में अच्छा होता है. But what is that useful? You only judge it from the monetary angle. Then, mother says, then that gadbad starts. And we're going to read this quote. The races who consider themselves civilized describe as useful whatever can attract, procure, or produce money. Everything is judged and evaluated from a monetary angle. सब कुछ पैसे के लिए चाहिए. मम्मी मुझे एक आर्टिस्ट बनना है, पर आर्टिस्ट तो भिखारी होते हैं. तो आप क्यों फाइन आर्ट लेना चाहती हो? कोई ज़रूरत ही नहीं है. अरे why don't you take engineering? Why don't you do an MBA? Why don't you go to IIT? Top. नहीं, पर मम्मा मुझे तो फाइन आर्ट करना है. नहीं. Can we have the quote? Yeah. So mother says that is what I call utilitarianism. And this disease, एक बीमारी है ये, is highly contagious. ये सिर्फ हमारे तक नहीं, हमारे बच्चों को भी होने लग गई है ये बीमारी. For even children are not immune to it at an age when they should be dreaming of beauty, greatness, and perfection, dreams that may be too sublime for ordinary common sense, but which are nevertheless far superior to this dull good sense. Children now dream of money and worry about how to earn it. You know, I went to somebody's house and there were these children, and the बच्चे सब पूछते हैं ना कि क्या आप क्या करोगे, क्या बनोगे? मम्मा मैं भी अपने पापा की तरह एक डॉक्टर बनूंगा. A 5-year-old child saying that? It is not coming from the inner guide. It is coming from this disease which has been caught on to that child. There's a beautiful story, I think the BDF also they take it, of Toto Chan. There was this young girl in Japan who became the ambassador of UNICEF also. जब वो 6 साल की थी, पता है उसे क्या बनना था? उसे एक बस का कंडक्टर बनना था. शायद हमें भी ऐसे ड्रीम्स थे. They are not फालतू, you know that? They are the dreams of a child, and we cannot hush it away. So we have to ask ourselves today, have we succumbed to this mindset, the industrial mindset, or the disease of utilitarianism? क्या हम भी झुक गए हैं इसके आगे? अगर हम झुक गए हैं तो it is not too late. We can start correcting and get out of the clutches. क्या किया था हमने कोविड के क्लचेस से बाहर निकलने के लिए? क्या किया था? ताली बजाई. हमने अपने आप को प्रोटेक्ट किया, हमने अपने हेल्थ के ऊपर कॉन्सेंट्रेट किया. Isn't it? And we understood what true health is. Even the greatest of the minds were falling prey to COVID, isn't it? The greatest of the countries, the most developed countries were falling prey to COVID. So we understood that what does one have to really do? One has to start protecting oneself. One has to start working on oneself. That is the only way. And to eliminate, how do you protect yourself? You eliminate whatever is not required, isn't it? जो गड़बड़ है, if in your house you eliminate all the kachra. Do you like staying in a kachra house full of dirt? No, you want to, every day you broom, you eliminate things so that beauty can come in, so that hygiene can come in, isn't it? So we have to eliminate these things from our life. इस disease को जो बहुत ज़्यादा खतरनाक है और इस mindset को eliminate करना है. क्या आप करोगे? Then आप true पात्र हो integral education के लिए. Now we go next. So we've already seen what is the result. The result is depression and confusion at the individual level. Because the child's feelings and emotions, nothing is considered. By the end, when he grows up, he becomes so depressed, he starts committing suicide. In a developed country like Japan, even parents commit suicide because their children have not been able to get admission in colleges. And then there is distortion and conflict at the collective level, which I don't have to tell you. We are all feeling it, right? We start struggling. हमारे पास gas नहीं है, isn't it? It starts percolating. That conflict that is there at international level comes to our houses, isn't it? It starts bothering us. पर क्यों तभी हमें पिंच करता है जब हमें गैस सिलेंडर नहीं मिलता है? हमें पहले पिंच करना चाहिए ना? नेक्स्ट. next. So this is the choice that we have to make next. So mother says, what do you want to align with? आपको किसके साथ align करना है? She is very clear and categoric in her message. Mother is calling out to men, countries, continents. She says the choice is imperative. Truth or the abyss. आप उस सच्चाई की तरफ जाओ, उस पावर की तरफ जाओ जो हम सब में है, दो सुप्रीम ट्रूथ का रिफ्लेक्शन जो हम सब में है, या एबिस का मतलब है हमारे अंदर जो भी गड़बड़ है, लोअर है, उसके तरफ जाओ. Greed and selfishness and, wanting to control, violence, anger, आप उसके तरफ जाओगे या इसके तरफ? The choice is yours. Yes. And then this is the most beautiful, well, we'll end with this. This is the most beautiful answer that mother had given to somebody, a disciple who asked her, कि माँ, this national education जो इंडिया में श्री अरबिंदो ने स्टार्ट किया था, isn't integral education a part, isn't it a continuation of that? तो क्या ये सिर्फ हमारी कंट्री तक सीमित है या कैन इट बी अप्लाइड यूनिवर्सली? क्या अमेरिका में भी इंटीग्रल एजुकेशन हो सकता है? क्या यूरोप में भी हो सकता है? क्या जापान में भी हो सकता है? एंड देन मदर सेज, और कि वो ऐसे हो सकता है, उस डिसाइपल ने ही उसका आंसर बोला कि कैन वी रिगार्ड दैट दिस नेशनल एजुकेशन ऑफ ईच ग्रेट कंट्री with the characteristic differentiations peculiar to each nation, they do it in that way, क्योंकि each nation का एक national education हो सकता है and वो अपने culture के तरफ से करे, वैसे करके उसके साथ connect होके, तो वो ही true integral education होगा उस country का. So the mother says, yes, that is correct. And then she says, India has, or rather had, the knowledge of the spirit, but she neglected matter and suffered for it. The West has the knowledge of matter. The West is very good. We have the best scientists in the West. They have really gone very deep into the world of the physical matter. But the West has rejected the spirit. Why has it rejected? Because they say we cannot see it with our senses, we cannot feel it with our senses, so we reject it. And because of that, they suffer badly for it. So mother says, किस तरह का integral education चाहिए पूरी दुनिया में? An integral education which could, with some variations, be adapted to all the nations of the world, must bring back the legitimate authority of the spirit over a matter fully developed and utilized. Whether it is in the US or whether it is in Europe, Japan, or in India, it has to be an integral education, not just आप थोड़े से कुछ टेक्निक्स क्लासरूम में अडॉप्ट कर लो, थोड़ा सा टेक्स्ट बुक्स चेंज कर लो, नहीं. That is not true integral education. It is a step towards integral education, but not true integral education. True integral education is when there is a legitimate authority of the spirit over a matter, where it is the soul, it is that inner divine which is the true guide, which is guiding each and every step. And it is very possible. All of you looking a little sad. It's not very, it's not, I hope I've not been very, trying to be adding to the depression of the current times. But it is so simple. What did Draupadi have to do? What did she have to do in order to? She just had to get connected. It was a half second. And And you can try it out in your life. You don't have to get to that challenging state of Draupadi. You can try it out in your life in every aspect to just get connected to that. And there starts integral education for all of us. Not only for you, for all of us. We also have to do it in our life daily. And that's all.